Speculations continue regarding the defense agreement between Saudi Arabia and the United States, and it is being reported that Saudi Crown Prince and Prime Minister Mohammed bin Salman will visit Washington, during which the agreement with the US is expected to be finalized. The Gulf countries, including Saudi Arabia, know that Israel is not a trustworthy state, yet the bilateral relationship between Israel and the US is like two bodies, one soul. In the past, slogans such as Israel is America and America is Israel have also been raised. In this context, Saudi Arabia's efforts to reach a defense pact with the US are being seen as a reaction to the increasing geopolitical tensions in the region. In recent years, Saudi Arabia has taken multiple steps to strengthen its defense capabilities, including the purchase of modern US made weapons and conducting joint military exercises. For example, in 2017, Saudi Arabia signed a $110 billion defense agreement with the US, which included advanced missile defense systems and other weapons. Additionally, Saudi Arabia's attempt to balance Iran's growing influence in the region is also considered a key reason for this agreement. The potential US-Saudi defense pact is being compared to the defense agreement between Qatar and the US, which came to light after the Israeli attack on Qatar. Following Qatar, Saudi Arabia's defense agreement with the US indicates a new alignment in the region. Although the agreement has not been officially confirmed, circumstances suggest it will soon enter its final phase, especially during the upcoming visit of the Crown Prince to Washington. Saudi Arabia's need for such an agreement with the US stems from two main reasons. First, Israel's unreliability, and second, the internal threats that Gulf states continuously face. Among these threats, the most prominent is considered to be the Muslim Brotherhood, due to which several Gulf countries have previously established their own defense camps at various locations. In this regard, Saudi Arabia has focused on enhancing its military power not only to counter the Muslim Brotherhood but also to confront threats emerging from Houthi rebels in Yemen and other non-state actors. For example, in June 2025, Saudi Arabia upgraded its US-made Patriot missile system to counter drone and missile attacks launched from Yemen. Furthermore, Saudi Arabia's efforts to enhance cooperation with the US for regional stability are being seen by some analysts as a new phase in the kingdom's foreign policy, aimed not only at countering Iran but also addressing other regional challenges. According to the writer's analysis, Pakistan has nothing to fear from the Saudi-US defense agreement. The defense cooperation between Pakistan and Saudi Arabia remains intact and strong, and it will neither affect Pakistan's position nor its defense capabilities. The cooperation that Saudi Arabia will receive from the US, whether in intelligence, missile systems, or defensive structures like the Iron Dome, could indirectly benefit Pakistan as well, since mutual training and defense exercises between the two countries will continue. A clear example of Pakistan-Saudi defense cooperation is the joint military exercise called Al-Samamah Shield, which serves as a means of strengthening military collaboration between the two nations. Moreover, Saudi Arabia has previously provided both financial and military assistance to Pakistan, including a $1.5 billion grant in March 2014. This cooperation is not limited to the defense sector, but also strengthens the economic and diplomatic relations between the two countries. In this context, Saudi Arabia's agreement with the US can be seen as an opportunity for Pakistan, as it may serve as a way to promote regional stability. On the other hand, China and Russia are also closely observing this development. According to analysts, if the US-Saudi Defense Pact is finalized, it could reduce the influence of Russia and China in the region. However, every country, including Pakistan, has the sovereign right to enter into agreements with any nation it chooses. In this context, to understand the concerns of China and Russia, it is important to note that Saudi Arabia has been trying in recent years to diversify its foreign policy. For instance, in 2023, Saudi Arabia restored diplomatic relations with Iran through China's mediation, which was a significant development in the region. Nevertheless, Saudi Arabia's deep cooperation with the US indicates that it continues to prefer relying on Western countries for its security. This situation could be a challenge for China and Russia, who are trying to expand their influence in the Middle East. US President Donald Trump recently claimed in a speech at Israel's parliament that Iran's nuclear capability has been eliminated and neutralized. Although the authenticity of this statement remains disputed among various sources, it is clear that the US continues its policy of giving complete confidence to Israel in the region. In contrast, Iran is now seeking new avenues for dialogue instead of persistent confrontation. It is noteworthy that Iran's axis of resistance, stretching from Lebanon to Iraq, including Hamas and the Houthis, is not only weakening but nearing its end. While Hezbollah in Lebanon, the militias in Syria and Iraq have been almost eliminated, and Iran-backed Houthis also appear to be in their final phase. Given that Iran is already under severe sanctions, it would prefer to find temporary diplomatic openings to stabilize itself and improve its regional standing. Overall, it can be said that the potential Saudi-US defense agreement has brought the balance of power, regional alliances, and Iran's role in the Middle East to a new turning point. The effects of this agreement will not be limited to the Middle East alone, but will also influence geopolitical dynamics on a global scale. However, if the agreement is finalized, it will not only enhance Saudi Arabia's defense capabilities, but also further strengthen the U.S. presence in the region, potentially reshaping the global balance of power.